Hello, hello, hello. This is Elle Army. Welcome to Hippie in the City. I'm joined today by Danielle Keith. Danielle is an Aquarius, owner and founder of Healthy Girl Kitchen, a vegan essentials website and community. You can find everything there from recipes to health coaching to Danielle's favorite vegan brands. It's a great community to join, whether you're just starting your vegan journey, you're curious, or you've been a vegan out the womb. Either way, it's amazing. In addition to all this great knowledge and all of the recipes, Danielle not only has a gorgeous Instagram, but she started Healthy Girl Podcast. I'm so excited to interview this badass babe and fellow podcaster. Please love Danielle Keith. Hi, Danielle.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. Monday, typical, busy, crazy, so many things to do and catch up on. I'm like brainstorming recipes for the week and scheduling all kinds of things. So
That's a good Monday, though. I feel like whenever I am like trying to put things together instead of it sort of like organically happening, I always feel like I'm, I don't know, being a try hard or something. So it's like good to have a bunch of stuff to keep you busy.
totally. And like I have to stay organized. I can't just like do everything randomly, especially like I'm sure you can relate just being your own boss and working from home. And especially as a blogger, like I have to have everything planned out every day. I have to have like all my social posts in order. I have to know what I'm doing throughout the week, especially if there's like branded content or anything that has to do with sponsorships or anything. I have to make sure everything's planned out. I make a list every day. I always have like a to-do list.
I'm a huge list maker.
I love a list.
Love a list. I feel like as someone who's kind of more scatterbrained and like very artistic and very creative, like when I went to make this podcast and make the blog, and I focused so much on the look of it and the brand feel and the colors and all the kind of creative aspects of it, which I love. And then I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much work to be done in scheduling, being organized, having it planned out. It really, I think people think that it's easy, and it takes so much planning and so much preparation to stay on task, to have content, to have also like a plan for it. So like it's going somewhere. It's not just random. And that's been the kind of the biggest shock to me.
Totally. And there are always new trends and everything, just new features, new apps that you need to be on. I know when TikTok came out, I'm like, wait, like I'm so focused on Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest and like all of these things that we already have to worry about. And then comes another social platform where everyone's attention is. And then, of course, like Instagram, I'm sure you know, just came out with Reels. So there's always something new to be on top of. And I think a lot of the time, people look at the finished product of what an influencer or blogger puts out and thinks like, wow, like that's such a fun and easy job. But there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that people don't see.
Yeah. So just to introduce our listeners to exactly what your brand is and exactly what you do, you are would you say you're a nutritionist?
Yes. So I am a certified holistic health coach. I attended the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. They're based in New York City, but it's all online, so you can pretty much do it from anywhere. And I did the 6-month accelerated program. I know sometimes they have a year, sometimes they do 6 months, but basically in the 6-month one, for anyone who's like maybe interested in being a health coach, I know I get that question a lot. The 6-month program is they just give you all the work, just twice as much work every week so that you're not like spreading it out over a year. So if you're like trying to be a health coach quickly, do the 6-month accelerated program. So basically, I went through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, became certified as a health coach because I wanted to help people get healthy. And I really wanted to help people eat plant-based in like a yummy but healthy way. And then I started just like posting recipes because my clients would ask me for easy recipes. They're like, hey, Danielle, I have no idea what to make for dinner. Do you have an idea? Meanwhile, this was taking up a lot of my time, like typing out individual recipes to my clients. So I just started posting them on Instagram, and I started posting them on my website so that when a client asked, I could just send them there instead of me typing out recipes to every individual person. I had no intention of becoming a food blogger. I had no intention of monetizing my Instagram, my blog in any kind of way. I was just very much focused on being a health coach. But then as the months went on, my blog started gaining traction. I started to get 5,000 people a month, 10,000 people a month, 20,000 people to my blog a month, to now getting over 100,000 people to my blog every month. It's insane. I did not think that that would happen. And also same for Instagram. I started to gain a following, and people really were enjoying my recipes. And I think the biggest thing is that people liked how easy they were. I know for me, I hate following recipes. It's funny because I make recipes, but I hate following them. I hate when I go to a recipe that I want to make and there's like 60 ingredients. There's so many different instructions. It's like so confusing. And I'm like, you know what, never mind. I'm not even going to make that because it just seems so annoying. I really tried to take that to heart. And I really wanted to make my blog easy, healthy, but still so yummy and trendy. I think a lot of like vegan and plant-based websites out there, they're not very like trendy or cool. Like a lot of the plant-based recipe sites, I mean, like no shade to them, like things like websites like Forks Over Knives and that kind of thing. It was originally geared towards older people with heart disease and diabetes. So like the recipes aren't like cool necessarily. I think they've done a better job recently, but like a lot of the plant-based content out there is like it was originally meant for people who are struggling with again, a heart attack, heart disease, preventing diabetes, treating diabetes. So I really wanted to make recipes that were trendy and cool and didn't just appeal to older people maybe suffering from those kinds of diseases, but also appeal to younger people to get them interested in veganism and plant-based eating.
Yeah, so that is one of the reasons that I love your content and that I found you in the first place. Um, I don't eat vegan all the time, but I do try to make vegan recipes because I actually love vegan food. And I also really am trying to cut down mine and my husband's consumption of meat, mostly for the environment. I mean, Shanti Shanti, I think meat tastes great, but it really, like, the meat industry and how harmful it is to our ozone layer and our earth is definitely, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I love animals, but it's my main goal for introducing vegan recipes into our lifestyle is to help cut down on our consumption of meat. It's like, I don't think, at least for us right now, it's realistic to cut it out completely. But I do think adding in like 3 days out of the week where we're eating vegan, it's so healthy. It's also really good for the environment. And your recipes are like, not only do they look good, so it's like you want to Instagram it or you want to take a picture of it, um, which is really fun. They taste really good. And that is, I think, something that people maybe who are curious about trying vegan recipes or wanting to get into it, or even people that think it's weird or like they don't get it. I feel like that's one thing that I would want to say to people that are curious about it is like that the recipes you come up with taste so good. Like you're not sacrificing flavor in any of it. In fact, I almost feel like there's more because you want to make sure that it's like something you want to eat all the time.
For sure. And I always say, like, you don't have to go vegan overnight. Sure, there are some people where they're just like all in, they want to do something, they just want to do it either 100% or not at all. But for the majority of people, just taking baby steps is a lot easier. Like when I first went plant-based, I was in college, I was a freshman. I was eating so unhealthy in the dorm. Obviously, college lifestyles like drinking, going out, eating late at night with your roommate, like ordering in pizza and microwaving Easy Mac when you don't have time to make a meal between classes. So that environment was very toxic for me. And like, I'm someone, I need a good night's sleep. I need to be eating healthy in order to feel good. And I don't do well when I drink a lot of alcohol. So, like, the college environment was just a lot for me. And I, of course, like, I was loving just being there without my parents. And I went to Michigan State University, and they're known for their dining halls. They have insane,
Spartan.
yep, they have insane dining halls. They're like a mall food court on
Mhm.
steroids. You have pizza bar, pasta bar, make your own sandwiches, build your own ice cream sundae, froyo machines, and it was all unlimited. We just had our card. You could go in, unlimited swipes. Like, it was food heaven. Obviously, after a while, it got tiring, but I could sense myself getting to the point where I just felt sick after every meal, because in the morning I would have a bagel with a ton of cream cheese. So that was just like the dairy. It just did not do well for me. Um, Lunch, I'd have like fettuccine alfredo, and then I'd have an ice cream cone, and then I'd have more froyo after dinner, and then I'd have like a late night Easy Mac with my roommate. And just after even just like a few months of doing that, I could tell I was gaining weight. I didn't feel good. I was fatigued. I was napping after every single class. And I also was suffering from chronic chest pain, which had started in high school but got worse in college just because of I was eating a lot worse. And now I know that was the chest pain was caused by inflammation from all the animal products I was eating, all the meat, all the dairy. Um, so I knew that I had to make a change because I just felt so sick. And I started slow. I did not go plant based overnight. I first stopped eating sugar, like anything blatantly dessert, because the dining halls were filled with unlimited pastries, unlimited ice cream, homemade chocolate chip cookies, which I was eating a lot of. So my first thought was just, you know what? I think I need to lay off the sweets. Next, I told myself I wasn't going to eat the mystery meat in the dining hall because who the hell knows where they got that from.
First thing, cut out mystery meat.
Cut out mystery meat. That's got to go. And then anything that was like majorly processed, I got rid of. So no like Doritos, Cheetos, any of those kinds of things. And then I watched Forks Over Knives, which is an amazing documentary. If any of you haven't watched it, it basically shows you all of the incredible health benefits of eating a plant-based diet and how it can reverse and prevent all these diseases. And it's just really good. So I recommend that you watch it. But it was very eye-opening to me in college to see that diet actually had such a profound impact on your health. I never really connected the two so much. Of course, I connected that eating more made you gain weight, but not so much of what you eat could maybe cause something like chest pain or could cause something like feeling fatigued or tired. Um, so after watching Forks Over Knives, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Because at this point I had already cut out a lot of the bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I was only the last thing was dairy, which I know is like the hardest thing for people to cut out. Everyone loves cheese, everyone loves ice
Gosh,
cream.
I cut
Putting
I cut out dairy first because it causes me to break out so badly. I have like it is like wreaks havoc on my body, and everyone's like, how do you cut out dairy? I'm like, if you felt as crappy as I felt, you'd cut it out. I mean, there's still so many times that I'm like looking at a charcuterie board and I'm like, wow, that looks great, and it's like trending on Instagram right now. But it's like if I like have a moment where I'm like, you know what? Sure, I'll try some of that. it's just not worth it. It's almost like I have like 3 days of, it's almost like I have a cheese hangover.
Yeah, and that's the number one thing I think people tell me. They're like, I would love to be vegan, but I can't get rid of the dairy. I'm addicted to the dairy. And it's often like, well, I can buy dairy-free ice cream, but it's the cheese for me. I cannot live without cheese. And there are so many vegan cheeses out there these days. Like if you go to the store anywhere, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, Publix, Kroger, like wherever you live, any grocery store, they now have a selection of vegan cheeses. And just like dairy cheese, there are like levels of like lower quality vegan cheeses to higher quality vegan cheeses. So I encourage you, if you want to dip a toe into being more dairy free, if you're trying to be more plant-based, be vegan, just like buy a new vegan cheese every time you go to the store and give it a try.
I asked some of my followers questions for you as well. And actually, one of the questions was, what is your favorite vegan cheese? Because I can't find one that I like.
There you go. It's a popular question. Okay, so number one brand is Miyoko's. That's my favorite. I think it's the best. Miyoko's. It's like this Japanese woman who started it. Such a cool company. Their cheese, it doesn't just taste good, it's healthy for you. There are a lot of fake cheeses out there that are made out of just ingredients that I'm not a huge fan of, and are like more coconut oil based or have like maltodextrin, just things that you wouldn't really want to be eating. Where Miyoko's, it's a nut based cheese. So just like you would buy like almond or cashew milk, their cheeses are made out of nuts. So I would recommend their cheeses for, well, actually now they just came out with shreds. So you can get like shredded cheese that you would melt on a taco or like melt on top of enchiladas. And they also have like wheels of cheese, like you said, a charcuterie board. You can make a vegan charcuterie board. I do that all the time. And they're like wheel cheeses. It's just like a circle of cheese. Those are perfect for adding to a charcuterie board and like spreading on a cracker. I think they also have a really good fresh mozzarella. So it's like a ball of mozzarella. Nice. So we'll put that on pizza. I'll make like a caprese type of salad and do like tomato and basil and like the Miyoko's mozzarella with like a balsamic glaze. So number one is Miyoko's. I also really like Violife.
Okay.
It's not as healthy as Miyoko's, but like just like if you're sprinkling a little bit of their Parmesan cheese on top of your pasta, if that's like what you need to get you to eat more plant-based meals, like go for it. Violife has a lot of different options, and a few other ones I'll rattle off if you guys want to like write this down are Chow, Follow Your Heart, Kite Hill, and Spiro and Treeline. Those are my favorites. I'm not a huge fan of the diet cheese.
I was just going to ask what your thoughts on diet cheese. I have tried it many times because obviously it's like they've done a really big push for marketing and being in grocery stores.
For sure.
And yeah, I don't love it. I mean, it's definitely, and you also read the back of it and you kind of feel like,
yeah,
am I eating a bunch of junk that's not, because there's a fine line like you touched on earlier where you might be eating vegan, but is it good for you?
100%. Yeah, I definitely want to touch on that. But yeah, there are cheeses that are healthier for you or better for you. Same thing goes for vegan meat. Like it's better to eat something like tofu or tempeh than eating like the Gardein or like the Beyond Meat or Impossible Burger. Of course, eating those options are better for the animals and the environment, because when you eat your Beyond Burger, an animal didn't have to be killed for you to eat your sandwich, but it's not the best for your health. So that is an important distinction between the two. And that was like something that I had to learn too back in college when I was going plant-based. I had to learn that distinction because Oreos are vegan, Twizzlers are vegan. So it's easy to like make an excuse for yourself to eat those things. So I really learned to eat fruits, veggies, nuts, seeds, whole grains, potatoes, beans, lentils, all of those things. I was like in my dorm, you should have seen me. I would microwave sweet potatoes. Like my roommate probably thought I was psycho, but I at that point would do anything to be healthy. I would take fruit from the dining hall. So in the dining hall, they had huge bowls of apples, oranges, and bananas, like fruit that didn't need to be refrigerated. And I made a fruit bowl in my room. So every time I'd go to the dining hall, I'd just like take a few and then build up my fruit bowl so that I had easy snacks, or I could just grab it for breakfast in the morning. I would take vegetables from the dining hall, like from the salad bar, and anything that could be steamed. So peppers, carrots, broccoli, and I would then steam it in the microwave. So if they didn't have fresh cooked vegetables, I would just take it from the salad bar and make my own.
Amazing. Do you feel like you have to eat a bigger quantity of food to feel full throughout the day?
So this took a bit of learning and understanding my body and what feels right. And everyone is different. There's so many ways to eat a plant-based diet. There are people who are plant-based keto. There are people who are raw vegan. They only eat raw fruits, veggies, nuts, and seeds. There are people who eat more higher fat, higher protein. Like, you have to find what works for you within the plant-based diet. But I think balance is really key. So just like in a non-vegan diet, making sure you get protein, carbs, and healthy fats at every single meal, and finding that balance. And that goes for any kind of diet you're on. If you are finding that balance, so let's say for your healthy carb, you do a sweet potato. And for your protein, you do lentils. And then for your healthy fat, you do avocado. And just making sure that you have all three components, because protein and healthy fats balance your blood sugar. So if you're just eating a big bowl of pasta, and while that's technically vegan, that's not going to keep you full for very long because it's all carbs. But if you have whole wheat pasta and add, I don't know, olives for your healthy fat, like some fresh Kalamata olives, and add chickpeas and make like a Mediterranean pasta salad, you have a more complete meal. And again, the protein and the fat is going to balance your blood sugar, therefore keep you full longer. You're not going to have that crash where all of a sudden you're starving and you're like looking for food an hour after your meal. And then of course, for your carb, making sure that's a whole complex carb. So doing brown rice instead of white rice, having whole wheat pasta instead of white pasta, because the whole grains have more fiber, and fiber keeps you full longer. Fiber helps you be more regular and helps you go to the bathroom more often. And again, fiber is going to balance out your blood sugar, therefore keeping you fuller longer. So the simple answer to your question is just making sure you eat a balance of foods.
So that's another thing I think I want people to know that are listening, that when they go to your website and listen to your podcast and go to your blog, they can find really amazing recipes and tips and things for leading a balanced plant-based diet. But really, coaching with you is like the ultimate thing, because you're going to help with all of those little things. Like you said, knowing exactly what's protein, what's a complex carbohydrate, and what's a healthy fat. And the fact that, like, I don't think people understand that keeping their blood sugar even is what's going to help them feel more even throughout the day, and also like feel more full, as opposed to like you feel like you just need to eat more to stay more full. And so there's all these little nuances that I think are really important, which is why people should definitely sign up to coach with you and have these really specific tools that you can help them through, because there's a lot more that goes into it than just making vegan recipes.
Totally. And right now, just a disclaimer, I'm not taking any clients right now. As I said before, I never intended on becoming a blogger. I never thought that my blog and my Instagram and posting food would be my full-time income, but that has taken up a majority of my time. And so what I'm doing is kind of like coaching through my posts, and all the recipes I create, all the meal ideas I put out, all the health tips that I post on my TikTok. This is what I would tell you if I coached you individually. So that just helps me reach a broader range of people by focusing on, like, if I make a TikTok video about, for example, how much water you should be drinking in a day, that could reach 1 million people, where I could never I can never take on a million people to coach. So if you are looking to lead a healthier lifestyle, there are a lot of food bloggers that aren't, certified in any kind of way, which is totally fine. They don't need to be a food blogger. But when you do make my recipes, health is taken into consideration. So you're getting yummy recipes, but they also were designed and created by a health coach.
I love that. Okay, so a hippie in the city question. When's your birthday? I want to talk to you about astrology for a minute.
Ooh, I love this because I know nothing about it. So when other people can tell me stuff about my sign, I really like it. Okay, my birthday is January 31st.
So you're an Aquarius.
Yes.
I love it.
Yep.
I'm a Virgo. I have my Virgo necklace that I wear every day.
Oh, I love that.
Aquariuses and Virgos get along great because we're almost exactly on opposite sides. So we're like opposites attract
Right.
kind of vibes. But I saw this morning, or maybe it was this morning, but on your Instagram story that you were like, do you like to make your bed? Yes or no? And I was like, yes, 100%. I have to make my bed in the morning to kind of just feel like I have a good start, I guess. And I was wondering, I was like, ooh, I wonder if she's a Virgo. But being an Aquarius makes sense.
Yes. Yes. People say Aquariuses are like pretty type A.
Yeah. It's one of the most interesting signs to me because while Aquariuses are type A, kind of, there's also like a really big creativity component to being an Aquarius, which is a really interesting combination because like Capricorns, which are right before Aquarius, are kind of known for being type A, like workaholics. They like their routine, they like their alone time, they like things to be in a certain place. But Aquariuses have this like really interesting creativity component that's like healing, humanitarian, and kind of what's the altruistic. So I think what you're doing is kind of perfect because you are able to help people. Like you said, you're able to reach a lot of people through these social channels that like you yourself couldn't coach a million people no matter how hard you tried, and so you're kind of able to have both a really strict, organized calendar, regimented schedule. But then at the same time, you're getting to make it really creative with not only the look of your recipes, but also the branding that goes into your Instagram. And then like being able to use TikTok is really creative and fun. And it's like a really different platform for influencers and bloggers to use. So it's like, I don't know, I think that makes a lot of sense that you're kind of following your Aquarian path. The other thing I would say, is that even though Aquarians are the water bearers, it's an air sign. So most people get really confused thinking it's a water sign, but it's actually an air sign. So you're ruled by thought. So you're a big thinker and you're
Totally.
a huge learner. Like Aquarians believe in being a lifelong learner and always wanting to be kind of on the quest for knowledge. So I feel like for you specifically, even though it might have been overwhelming to be like another social platform we have to get on, I bet it was probably also really fun and exciting to have to like learn something new and be like challenging yourself because if an Aquarian feels like they're not being challenged or they're like put in a box, they will break out of that box so fast and everyone might be like, oh my God, are you having a mental breakdown? And you're just like, I felt trapped. I felt like I wasn't learning. I felt like I wasn't being able to like reach a lot of people. So I feel like you're right on track.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. It's funny because I'll just be like staring into space and like I will have not spoken for like 5 minutes and my fiance will be like, "What you thinking about, Danielle?" So he always knows when I'm deep in thought and we can be like watching a movie or a TV show together and if like I don't laugh at a funny part, he'll be like, what are you thinking about?
Yeah, he's
What's
like,
going
where did
on
you
in
go?
your head? Yeah, he knows when I'm like, I'm always thinking about something.
Yeah.
So, and then, yeah, in terms of my creativity, I love the creative side of food blogging. Of
Mhm.
course, like there are things on the back end that are annoying. Like no one wants to be like doing their taxes or scheduling posts, but when it comes down to the things that are actually fun, like I love creating TikTok videos. Now, like I was annoyed at first, of course, that there was something else I had to do, but actually the act of creating the video and editing it and creating that final product, that's so fun. It's like
Mhm.
in school when when a teacher gives you like a really fun assignment. um,
But I was
so I
gonna
actually
say
really,
Aquarians also are like really excel at school.
yeah, I was like major studier, overachiever. If I got a B, I was upset.
Were your notes like pretty?
I wish I could show you them.
Yeah, but I bet they were creative. They were like very,
Yeah.
very like studious, but like almost an art form in themselves.
Yes, I was very hard on myself in school. I went to Jewish private school for my entire life. My high school that I went to was dual curriculum, so we learned like Jewish studies half the day, learned Hebrew as like a second language, and also had all of our normal English, science, math. So it was like learning twice the amount that normal people do when they go to school. Um, so it was a lot. And then it was also college prep. So the courses were a lot harder. And everyone who went there, it was a very challenging environment. Everyone always talked about their grades. Um, it was really almost toxic in a way. If I didn't let it get to me like that, but there were a lot of students, unfortunately, who just felt so pressured to get good grades to kind of keep up with everyone else. I know this is kind of going in like another direction, but
No, this is part of why I love hosting this podcast is just getting to know people for people. I mean, of course, there's a reason I was attracted to your brand, but like I want to get to know Danielle, you know?
yeah, so it was a very competitive environment. That's the word. It was very competitive. I remember this girl one day, she was crying and I was like, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" She was crying at her locker and she's like, "Oh, I got a 96 on my math test." I'm like, I wasn't that crazy, but I'm like, "Oh, that's amazing." I'm like, "You're fine. That's an amazing grade. I would kill to get a 96 on my math test." So that's kind of like like a little insight into how pressuring and competitive the nature was at my school. But it definitely made me strive for excellence and made me kind of push myself past barriers and past my limits and just made me want to be my best self, which I now apply to my business and my brand.
Mhm.
And I think it really set me up for success in all other aspects of my life because who knows, if I went to some other school, I might have done the bare minimum to get by and just taken the back seat because I could have definitely done that. But because I
But
was
because
an
you're an Aquarius, you would never ever have done that, no matter what school you went to.
That's funny. Yeah. But being in that environment, it
Yeah.
pushed me to be my best and I came out better for it.
Hmm. Did you grow up in Florida?
I grew up in Michigan.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so grew up in Farmington, Michigan for anyone out there who's familiar. It's like 30 minutes outside of Detroit. It's like the suburbs around Detroit. And as I said, I went to Michigan State University and then I was in a 5-year long distance relationship with my boyfriend at the time, who's now my fiance. He's from New York. I'm from Michigan. 5 years of long distance. We never lived in the same place. And when we moved to Florida together, that was kind of like our decision of, we weren't going to go to Michigan where I'm from. We weren't going to go to New York. We wanted a fresh start together. And honestly, at that point, like we weren't tied to any one particular place. So we were like, okay, what place would make us the happiest? And we were like, okay, let's go to warm weather. Let's go live by the ocean.
Oh my
Let's
gosh,
like
I love
go have
that.
the best time. Yeah, which I think now is super relevant because everyone is now, or most people are working from home because of coronavirus, and so many people are leaving the states that they were living in, whether it's because they don't need to be there for their job or because it's too expensive to live there. I really think it's important to go where you think you'd be happiest because we often stay in places where we don't want to be. And there really is something to be said for like going somewhere where like your soul will be happy.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. My husband and I actually just did that. Um, I've lived all over, but he is from Massachusetts and lived in New York, and then I moved to New York with him, and we just moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, and we don't know anyone here. We haven't like been here before, but we just like had a feeling about it, and we were like, you know what, like it's going to make our soul happy, and we just know that. And so when this virus hit, we just took a chance and did exactly what you said and moved out of New York City, which was, kind of scary and, um, of course, expensive. And we were like, you know what? Like, if we need to go back for business, it's just a flight away. And so we took a chance and did exactly what you said, where we're just like going to be where it makes our soul happy.
I love
So I
that.
like, love
And
that you did that too.
Charlotte's like, I've never been there, but it's supposedly so fun and like so much to do. And like, you can go to like, I mean, you're near South Carolina too, so you can go to like
Mhm.
Myrtle Beach and
Yeah, it's one of those places that's like kind of seems a little bit like a unicorn. It's like 2 hours from the mountains, 2.5 from the beach. You have like national football, national basketball, like really big. There's some really big industry that's here, like kind of sneaky big industry here, that's like the NASCAR Hall of Fame is here. Like it's a huge NASCAR place, which I'm not I'm like not into that, but I was like shocked. I had no idea. Um and but then it still feels like a neighborhood. It still feels like a place where you can like just breathe, and it's so pretty. There's so much nature here, and I'm like really happy to be living for my soul instead of anything else, trying to like get ahead in business or anything like that. I was like, it's time to just make our souls happy.
for sure. And I mean, so many people are leaving New York City right now. It's insane. But that's a big difference and such a different environment coming from like congested New York City, like the smells, the all the people to going to like a nice, calm Charlotte.
Yeah.
It's just very different. But
Yeah.
that's amazing. You have to do what makes you happy.
It's funny how things can be um a calling, like a place, not just like a person or something. You're kind of like, I don't know why, but I literally can't stop thinking about this place I've never been to. So let's just take a chance on it. Um so I found out about this really interesting thing the other day. I need to do more research on it. I'm obsessed with doing research on things, so that's something I think Virgos and Aquariuses share. Um,
I Google everything. Like you say something, I'm like literally Googling it. I have like a rash. I'm like, rash on my left butt cheek. What's happening? Like I'm always Googling. Like my Google search history is like a million miles long because I'm always Googling.
oh my gosh, I went to go try to get something out of my like web browser history the other day. I was like, oh, what was that thing called? Hold on, like let me look. I just looked it up the other day. And I look up so much stuff in a day that I like it took me a while to find it, even though I had just looked it up the day before. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm a psycho."
I feel you. I feel you.
Um oh, so the thing I heard about the other day was called astrocartography, and it's basically where you put your birth chart, your astrological birth chart, and you overlay it on a map. So you have to use like a software or do it correctly because you could overlay it incorrectly. But it was this idea that your birth chart, says things about your sun sign, your moon sign, your, where all the planets were at the time of your birth. And then if you overlay it on a map, it will almost have these lines like longitude and latitude, although they're not perfectly north, south, or east, west. And it will, in theory, can tell you where you'd be happiest living, which is, I thought really, I literally just heard about it. So I am no expert. I don't know much about it, but I was like, now I want to do mine and see if Charlotte is like on the line of where I would be, happiest.
Watch you be like in India somewhere random.
Well, the thing that's cool about it is because the night sky, is encompasses the earth, it would basically go around the whole like globe. You know what I mean? Like a ring. So maybe it is with India as well, but hopefully it's somewhere near Charlotte.
Yeah. Okay. So you have to do it for both of us and get back to me. Yeah. Let me know. Report back.
Yeah, I will. I thought it was interesting. The girl that I heard it from is an astrologer I follow, and it's actually on her TikTok, and she was like, I just started studying this, and I just did mine, and she was like, I found out that like where I've been living, which I've been pretty unhappy or feeling very emotional, was on the line where the moon was, which moon rules emotions. She was like, so I'm going to go to my Jupiter line, which it rules good luck and prosperity. And it was like around Colorado. And so she was like, check back. So she's just, this was just a few days ago. So she's like up and moving to Colorado to see if it makes her happier.
Oh my God. Well, that's crazy. I guess you do you.
Yeah. I just appreciate anybody who's self-aware enough to know that where they're at is, maybe not the best for their soul. And then also someone who's ballsy enough to just take a leap of faith.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So I love that you did that. Okay, so some other questions from the peanut gallery. Not to even joke or anything. Okay, so you said you switched to being on a plant-based diet in college.
Yes.
And then has your chest pain and like inflammation gone away?
Yes. Sorry, I never finished the tail end of my story, which is the best part. So after about 4.5 months of eating consistently plant-based every single day, really healthy, like I'm talking huge fruit salad for breakfast, brown rice and chickpeas and veggies for lunch, a massive salad for dinner with like quinoa or lentils, just super clean. I wasn't restricting myself either. So I wasn't counting calories. I was just eating really healthy, good, wholesome food. After about 4.5 months, I noticed my chest pain went away and it's never come back. And I had gone to so many doctors who just didn't know how to help me. None of them suggested that I should change my diet. None of them thought to say, hey, like, what are you eating? Maybe it's something in your diet. They wanted to just give me like digestive medication and send me on my way. And I had no idea how the diet could be so powerful. So yes, my chest pain is gone. At the time, I lost about like 20 pounds, which was crazy. I gained some of that weight back, but I think that's been like me finding out what's best for my body. And also going from like eating ice cream, sundaes, pizza, pasta, Alfredo, like literally so much junk, to eating that clean. My body everything just fell off.
Everything. Yeah.
And like every woman, like I could fluctuate like 10 pounds in a week if it's like close to my period or whatever. But
oh my God. Yeah.
I think now like I've really found my balance of what works for me. And Like if I want to have vegan ice cream one day, I'll have vegan ice cream. If I want to like go out to a fun vegan restaurant and try that, I will. Like I think I do like 95% like super healthy plant-based, and the other 5% or even like 5 to 8% I'll have a treat myself. And I think that's really important when you make a lifestyle change, is to like not be so hard on yourself.
Yeah, I completely agree. Um, Oat milk ice cream is so good.
So good. Have you had the strawberry one from Trader Joe's?
Oh, I haven't. You know what? I have not been to Trader Joe's. So sad, RIP, for like a year probably, because in New York, there even before the coronavirus, there's a line out the door to get in.
I know.
And then now, there's the line to because they're only letting so many people in. So even here in Charlotte, there's a huge line, and I keep saying I'm gonna go right when they open so that I'm the first in line. And it hasn't happened yet, but so many of my favorite Trader Joe's brands, or just Trader Joe's in general, I haven't been able to have yet, but I need to. Is it a Trader Joe's brand?
Yeah, it's the Trader Joe's oat milk strawberry, and it has like candied like almonds in it. It sounds kind of weird, but it's really good. The
Hmm.
person working there was like, "You have to try this." And I'm normally like a chocolate, peanut butter, like
Me too.
caramel kind, yeah, like coffee. I like those kinds of
Mhm.
flavors, but they said it was really good, and it's really good.
Oh my
It's
gosh. Okay.
amazing.
Well, I will be trying that.
But try getting in line at Trader Joe's, because I live directly across from a Trader Joe's, and I can look out my window and I can see the line. And so I can kind of just like, when it's empty, I just run over. But when there is a line, it's done in 5 minutes. Like it looks intimidating, but they let people in really fast.
Okay.
You
I
got to
feel
go.
like the way that I shop, I take a long time. Like I like to look at
Yeah.
I swear I like to look at every single product in a grocery store. Just I'm just weird like that. I also feel like I like have fun.
Same. I'd be there all day. I want to like sleep over.
Okay, so would you say this is kind of a two-part question. One, do you miss meat at all?
No.
Quick answer, no. And then in your research, have you found like what is some really good, I don't know, data or like stats behind going vegan? I know that's a little bit of a weird question, but that was one of the ones that my followers asked. So I just wanted to throw that out there. So hopefully it can help some people like try it out.
Sure. So, no, I don't miss meat. I was never a big meat eater to begin with. Like, if my mom told us we were having like burgers or meatloaf for dinner, I would be so upset. Like, I just wanted her to make pasta and salad or like mashed potatoes. Like, I always hated when she made meat for dinner. I was more of like a salmon kind of girl. Like, I always loved fish. So, I think if I always say if I could have one thing that would be that I wish I could make vegan, I wish I could just have like some salmon. But I'm not here like wishing that I could eat it. I'm not here like missing anything. Um, but no, I don't miss meat. And if you are a meat eater, because I understand that a lot of you love meat, you maybe grow up in households where that's like a part of your culture, is to eat a lot of meat and meat dishes. There are so many ways to make vegan food the same texture as meat. So I'll make like a bolognese sauce if you're like Italian or you like Italian food and you're used to eating like a meat bolognese. I make a lentil bolognese. So you just literally take lentils. I just get the ones that are pre-cooked from Trader Joe's, and you just cook it with marinara sauce. And I'm telling you, it's like hearty and filling, and it tastes like meat sauce. And just add it to pasta, and it's super good. If you like air fry tofu, or put take like whole wheat or gluten-free breadcrumbs, bread the tofu, air fry it if you have an air fryer, bake it if you have an oven until it's like super crispy, and then dip it in like either ketchup or like a honey mustard, that it tastes like little chicken tenders. So there are ways to make your food feel like you're eating meat, but it just didn't harm an animal or harm the environment as much in the process. And, if you go on my website, I have like tofu chicken tender recipe. I have the lentil bolognese recipe. I have like homemade veggie burgers that you can make that are like super hearty and yummy and filling. So like I would encourage you to like go on my website, find those kinds of recipes and try them out because they will surprise you. And then in terms of like research and data on eating plant-based and for your health, I don't have any like statistics and numbers off the top of my head. I can recommend though some resources. One, I recommend to watch Forks Over Knives that talks about a plant-based diet, again, in relation to preventing and reversing heart disease and diabetes. And I believe they touch on cancer as well. I can recommend Game Changers. And these are all on Netflix, by the way. Game Changers talks about the health component, but also in relation to like athletes. And it's crazy. Like all these big athletes now are going vegan because they realize that it's so much better for their performance. So Game Changers is a really good one. And then What the Health is really good. Not like my all-time favorite, but it's still good. And then a really, really great book, a few great books, How Not to Die and the China Study. How Not to Die is all scientific fact, all based on research. So if you're very like research driven and want to make sure there are like claims behind the diet or lifestyle you're going to be attempting, I would definitely read How Not to Die. Dr. Michael Greger wrote it. He is brilliant. He's very logical and really encourages a balanced plant-based diet. You know, he's not recommending that you eat like fruit all day long and nothing else. Like he really encourages a balanced approach of kind of like what I was talking about beforehand. But yeah, I would look into those resources and I would do your own research too. Like I did so much of my own research before I went plant-based, like watch movies, watch documentaries, read books, follow plant-based doctors on Instagram. A few of my favorites are Danielle Keith. She is a plant-based cardiologist. There's Dr. Joel Kahn, who's a plant-based cardiologist, he was actually on my podcast. And you can also follow Dr. Greger, who wrote How Not to Die on Instagram too. But yeah, just do your research, educate yourself, and yeah, it's really all you can do.
Thank you. One of the questions that I got that I was kind of surprised about was, what is the best vegan aphrodisiac?
Ooh, okay.
I had two questions that were like that. One was, what's the best vegan aphrodisiac? And the other one was, what are the best veggies for sex drive? So I didn't know if you had any insight into that.
I do. So one is maca powder. Maca is just like a natural root, comes from the maca root. You can buy maca powder anywhere, which is why I like it. It's not like some crazy thing where you don't have access to it. They sell it at almost any grocery store. And if not, they sell it on Amazon. So you can just order it online. But maca powder is really good for your libido, your sex drive. And it works in that way because it helps to balance women's hormones. So if your hormones are out of balance, you might have some problems with your libido. So the key is getting your hormones balanced, and maca can help do that. But really the key is, you know, eating a healthy, high fiber, plant-based diet, or mostly plant-based. If you can't go all the way, the more plants, the better. There's actually a really great book that helps with women's hormones. It's called The Woman Code. Have you read it?
I have not read it yet.
Okay,
I'm about to go spend so much money on books after our episode here.
You have to get The Woman Code. It's a brilliant book written by Elisa Vitti. I never know if I'm like pronouncing her last name right. It's Elisa and then Vitti. And she is like the hormone guru. She's not vegan and she recommends like mostly plant-based diet, but her book is very insightful. She explains all the different phases of our cycle because there are 4 phases of the cycle. And she talks about like eating according to your cycle, what foods you should eliminate, what foods to add in. And she even talks about like what kind of exercise you should be doing according to like what phase in the cycle you are. So she's the hormone guru. I would recommend the book, The Woman Code. So the key is like balancing your hormones so that your sex drive is normal. But maca powder, again, is amazing. And eating super high fiber so that when you have a high fiber diet, that helps to eliminate extra estrogen in your body. So again, when your hormones are balanced, that can facilitate a healthier sex drive. But yeah, I would recommend maca powder 100%.
Okay. I've actually have been taking maca powder for a while to regulate my cycle and just to have a little bit more of an even mood, I guess, throughout my whole cycle, because it was like pretty wild. But I haven't noticed it was good for my sex drive, but maybe that was fine to begin with.
Yeah, no, it doesn't hurt.
I think to end here, what can you just tell everyone again so that they can listen and subscribe and find you? Just tell them your website, your podcast, your Instagram, all that good stuff. And then your favorite vegan breakfast and your favorite vegan dinner.
Okay. So I guess I'll start with my favorite vegan breakfast and favorite vegan dinner. So for breakfast, I either always have a smoothie or a fruit salad. I'm obsessed with smoothies. I would drink them like every day if I could. I mean, I do, but I love them. I'm not like a huge breakfast person to begin with. Like some people start off their morning just eating like normal food. Like this woman, she eats like, I know her, she eats like Brussels sprouts for breakfast. Like I couldn't wake up and just like start eating normal food. Or I saw someone on Facebook the other day, they were having like leftover curry for breakfast. I would throw up if I started my day like that. So
yeah,
I need, like for me personally, I have to start off light, and I love a smoothie because you can get in so many nutrients. And actually the fruit salad I have been eating is from the book, The Woman Code, the one I just talked about. So it's like a hormone balancing fruit salad and really good for your liver too. So basically I just take like a bunch of cut up fruit. You can take any fruit you want. I'll do like kiwi, oranges, pineapple, raspberries, strawberries, apple, like you name it, I throw it in there. And then you add flax on top and lemon juice and just mix it together and eat it.
Oil or flax seeds?
Flax seeds. So you take like a tablespoon or two of ground flaxseed and just mix it into the fruit with the lemon juice, and it's super good. And then my favorite vegan dinner, I mean, anything pasta. Pasta's like my favorite thing on earth. So whether it's like a vegan pad thai or like a vegan mac and cheese or like a cashew Alfredo, that's probably my favorite. But we do all kinds of things. We love doing vegan Mexican night, doing like plant-based black bean tacos, or we'll do like Indian food and make like homemade curry and homemade like flatbreads. So yeah, we eat something different pretty much every night. We like to switch it up, but pasta is my OG.
Do you find it hard to go out to eat, or if like someone invites you to a non-vegan restaurant, or is it like, I found, at least for me, when I'm trying to eat like that, or even I'm on a gluten-free, no dairy diet, I find it so hard to go out and eat with people.
Yes. So it can be challenging if the restaurant isn't vegan like at all. I think it's hardest at like, I feel like a lot of American restaurants, it's really hard because it's like steak, chicken tenders, different kinds of like meat sandwiches. Yeah, exactly. We're like more ethnic restaurants, like Thai food, Indian food, Japanese, like they can almost always make you something that's vegan, and you might have to like speak up for yourself and just be like, hey, like I'm plant-based, which means X, Y, and Z. Can you please just make me steamed veggies, rice, and tofu, like if you're at an Asian restaurant. So I would say don't be afraid to speak up for yourself, but also don't turn down social opportunities because of the fear that you won't be able to find something at a restaurant. If you have that fear, eat something beforehand so you're not starving. And there's always something. Like I've never been to a restaurant where I can't eat a single thing, even if you just have to order like a baked potato off the menu or like a side salad. Or there have been times like fries are like the only thing that's vegan, but like at least order. There's one thing that I'm sure you can order. I just make sure to eat beforehand. And if you're really like nervous about it, you can call ahead of time and ask because 9 times out of 10, they have like a vegan menu that they don't advertise, or they're more than happy to accommodate you by making you something off the menu. But definitely don't turn down like meeting up with a friend or like not going to something social because of your fear of not being able to find something.
Yeah, I think that's really, really good advice because there's definitely been times where I was like nervous about not being able to stick to my diet because, I didn't know what was on the menu and I went anyway. But then instead of feeling like I could be present, I was like worrying about it. So I think definitely, like you said, calling ahead or researching the menu beforehand and just eating a little something so you're not starving will just help you be a little more comfortable as you're adding in some of these more plant-based.
For sure. And now at this point, like I prefer to go to vegan restaurants only because I've just at this point had like so many bad experiences going to non-vegan restaurants, and they'll like accidentally put meat in my food, or they'll like serve me a salad and I'm like in the middle of eating it and there's a bunch of cheese in there, and it's just like it can cause a lot of anxiety. And like that doesn't mean that I never eat out at a non-vegan restaurant. Of course I do. And of course there are situations where like I go out with like friends or people who aren't vegan and like they want to go somewhere else. Like that's totally fine. I'm very flexible. But if it were up to me, like if I'm just going out to eat, there's so many great places here in South Florida that have amazing vegan food. So if I'm picking the restaurant, I would like to go somewhere totally vegan.
Yeah, and it just like the peace of mind to not even have to like look it over and ask 100 questions. You're just like, great, this is what I want. I love it. I'm so excited.
It takes me 2 hours to order at a vegan place because I can eat everything on the menu. So I'm like, it takes me so long.
That's awesome. Okay, so where can people find you and connect with you and learn more about all of your amazing plant-based knowledge?
Yes. So my Instagram is at Healthy Girl Kitchen. My website is healthygirlkitchen.com. My podcast is the Healthy Girl Podcast. I'm on TikTok at Healthy Girl Kitchen. My Facebook page is Healthy Girl Kitchen. Basically, everything's under Healthy Girl Kitchen except my podcast is the Healthy Girl Podcast. So yeah, I'd love for you guys to follow me. I post a ton of vegan recipes, plant-based meal ideas, wellness tips. I post about business too sometimes. So yeah, anything food related, wellness related, that's what I'm here for.
If you love our podcast as much as we love you, please subscribe. Spotify, you can hit the follow button, and on Apple Podcasts, you can click the 3 dots on the right and click subscribe. Because numbers matter, people. We live in the Matrix. Also, if you'd like to support us so we can aim to run ad-free episodes, go to anchor.fm/L-army/support. That's anchor.fm/ELLE-ARMY/SUPPORT. Peace and love.